All right. We're going to continue with our media availabilities here. We have Kevin Harvick from Stewart Haas Racing. We will open it straight up to questions. Please raise your hand and we'll call on you. Start here with Zach and then go to Steve.
Zach Sterniola with FrontStretch.com. Kevin, I noticed you were doing a bit of pit road work during practice yesterday. What were you trying to learn there?
Yeah, well, I feel like the details of the day are going to be important, and I just don't want to try to be as comfortable as possible, because the way that you get into the pit box and the things that you do are different than what you did in the old car. So just making sure that I understand the acceleration of the car out of the pit box, how far to go before, pit road speed, and how hard to push all those details. So, I think as you look at, you're kind of starting over with everything, and, just trying to make sure that we check as many boxes as we can, whether it's as simple as bumping another car, getting into the pit box, out of the pit box. All those things need to be addressed just to make sure that the details are covered, to try to minimize the mistakes. I think that's really what it's going to come down to.
Going to go to Steve and then Jordan.
Steve Schweitzer of the Lasco Press. Kevin, everybody in here today has pretty much conceded the pole to one of the Hendricks cars. You've won the pole here twice in the summer. Can you put a Ford on the front row tonight?
I honestly have not looked at the scoring monitor, so I have no idea. I honestly, I have no clue. I don't even know what lap time we ran, because I don't feel like it's really matters. We might be fast enough to qualify in the pole, but I never even asked. So I concentrated on doing so many little things that I never even looked. So it's maybe. I don't know how to answer that.
Sorry, we're going to go to Jordan on the far left.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. Talked to a lot of people in the garage about B.J. McLeod, and B.J. seems a driver that maybe is a little unheralded, but has a lot of respect among a lot of different drivers for what he does behind the wheel and what he does behind the scenes and everything. I've seen you interact with him a few times. I know you drove for him last year. Wondering what that relationship's like, what your impressions of him are. Yeah,
so one of my favorites in the garage, just because I feel like, B.J. is the racer's racer. For me, I always stop and have great conversation with BJ about whatever. It could really be anything. You never know. But what they've done with their team and building the process and building the parts and pieces and how they've gone about things is trying to build the racing dream, right? And all BJ wanted to do was win races, and I think at this particular level, he knows that it's, there's a budget and, a process that has to go with everything that comes along with that. So I think the thing about a BJ is he loves racing. He's in racing for all the racers' reasons, and creating a successful business at that, and just good people. That's the biggest thing.
I don't mean this disparagingly, so I'm trying not to come across this way, but you see BJ, he's got the skulls and the metal chain, the big chains and that kind of thing, and he doesn't look like a car owner or even a race car driver. Do you guys ever give him a hard time or anything about that or anything?
Not really. I think that's the unique part about people who aren't in the garage every day. The thing that you have to know about our garage, like, there are all walks of life that come through that garage, and when you're in there week after week after week, they're all just people, and they're just part of the racing family that comes with what we do, whether it's male, female, black, white t-shirt, black skulls on your t-shirt, whatever. Like, it's just, when I see BJ, I just think of a guy that loves to race, but it takes everyone to do this, and we're all different in our own unique ways, and BJ is he's just another one of the guys in the garage.
Go to Daniel.
Daniel McFadden, FrontStretch.com. Kevin, you and Kurt Busch, you came into the Cup Series pretty much right around the same time in the early 2000s. You've been teammates with him before. What has it been like for you seeing Kurt in the last few years, like really like kind of embrace having an elder statesman type role within the sport and like taking on a mentorship responsibilities and right now, how does NASCAR benefit from having Kurt Busch still racing week to week?
Yeah, so Kurt's a competitor, first off, and a really good race car driver, and one of my favorite teammates just because of the fact that he knows so much about the race car. He's so detailed in his analysis of things that go on that whose ever team that he is on, and he's an asset and a benefit, and because he'll analyze things so deeply and get in there and work on the things that he needs to work on to get better and figure out why he's not where he wants to be or why he is where he is. So but it's Kurt is just Kurt, and I think he's obviously mellowed out, but he's like BJ, right? So BJ is BJ and Kurt is Kurt, and they aren't trying to hide anything and walk to the things that they like to do and do the things that they like to do, and Kurt has mellowed out a little bit, but when you're in there digging with him every day, there's still that same fire and passion that goes with the sport, just controlled differently, in the public eye and the things outside of the race car. So Kurt's just he's a hardcore racer, and but the thing that my favorite thing about Kurt is how much he knows and will analyze the car.
Do you have a definitive like Kurt Busch story from your team being your days as a teammate with him?
Not any that I'd share in here, but there's some good ones though.
We'll go over here to Mark.
Mark Garrow, PRN. I don't know how to follow that one up at all, whether I should start to get a shovel and dig deeper. Looking ahead at some other races, coming up at Phoenix, I was just going over some stats, and 17 straight top 10s at Phoenix for you. 6 wins, 2 runner-ups in there, 12 top 5s. Been a machine, and it's been obviously under different rules packages, different cars. You keep kind of cranking on it. Does those numbers mean anything to you? Are they a sense of pride? And obviously you've done it again in different cars, and do you anticipate being able to keep that kind of roll going with this next gen?
Yeah, I don't pay much attention. I love numbers, but I never pay attention to my own for sure. I think as I go to Phoenix, the expectations are always high. Obviously, we set that standard as a team to go there and perform well. We had a good test there, and feel good about where we left with the car, and we'll obviously try to be better when we go back. But it's just it's a place that I have a lot of pride in general in, just because of the fact that I've gone there for so long. I think the first race I ran there was in 1995 in a Southwest Tour car. So it's been through a couple of I guess one reconfiguration, and it's just a place that I pride myself on running well at, just because I have such a long history of going there. But the flat tracks in general have been, and I think Phoenix is probably the start of that. But I grew up on a lot of flat tracks, and Phoenix was always the biggest race of the year, with the Southwest Tour cars and the Winston West cars back in the day when we had the the first race of the year out there. So I think it's it's a place that I like going to, and hopefully we can keep that rolling. But it's definitely it's a place that it means something to run good.
So is it like the speed run down here for pole qualifying? You pay no attention to those numbers either?
I don't. I try to stay oblivious to all that stuff, just because it feels I don't know. I just feel like when you start looking at the qualifying thing, I don't even know. I honestly don't know what the lap time was yesterday. Just because I just feel like if we do all the things that we're supposed to do, we'll be in the mix. But if it's fast, it's fast. But if it drives right and it will draft well and do the things that it needs to, it's going to be fine once you get to Sunday. So try to focus on the task at hand.
I'm going to go to Jerry, and then we'll go to Matt Baker.
Jerry Jordan, kicking the tires.net. I know this K shot just dropped that they picked up Riley earlier today. What do you look for in a driver when your management company is doing something like that? And are you any hands on with that at all?
Oh yeah, yeah. They probably get tired of me asking questions about the things that happen every day. You know, and I think well, first we're happy to have Riley. He and his family obviously have a long history in racing, but there are so many things that go along with this sport, and being able to be in a position like we are from the management side to be able to help Riley navigate the things that are difficult once you get to a certain spot in NASCAR racing. And you know, his is at the Xfinity level right now. And you know, it's a difficult sport to manage, because you know, if things aren't going your way, you can be, you know, beat down so quick from a mental standpoint, and not really know how to navigate the team. And so from the management side of things, you know, I feel like we bring a lot of real life experience to a lot of the young guys, in trying to help them navigate their careers and teams. You know, we've been on the TV side of it. We've been on the team ownership side of it. We've got athletes in other sports. So I look at NASCAR as easy. You know, those are the easy ones, just because, you know, we have so much experience and the same group of people, you know, that we've navigated this sport with for, you know, a long time, 2 decades with some of them that are in the office. And so, you know, it's this part's easy. Yeah. You know, I think the other sports are good for us to learn other sanctioning bodies and how other athletes tick. But here we've been there, done that, and, you know, keep up with the evolution of the sport, and feel like we can bring a lot to his career to help him navigate it.
Go to Matt.
Hey, Kevin. Matt Baker with the Tampa Bay Times. With Aric Almirola getting ready to retire, I'm curious, what's he kind of meant for you as a teammate?
Eric's just you know, Eric's one of those guys that's you know, just seems to always do the right thing, you know, and that's how he presents himself in meetings and every situation that I've ever seen Aric in. Is always polite and kind and doing the right things. So I think as a competitor, he's obviously, you know, done a great job of being competitive and doing the things that he wants to do, and now he's doing what he wants to do at the time that he wants to do that, you know, from the retirement side of things. So, but just a stand-up person and a, you know, quality teammate, but I keep going back to this, but just great person. So there's a lot of great people in our garage.
Have anything final for Kevin? All right, Kevin, thanks for joining us. Good luck this